New England Patriots, Spygate 2007. The New England Patriots were riding high in September of 2007, coming off 3 Super Bowl victories in 4 years. Bill Belichick's dynasty seemed unstoppable, built on precision, preparation, and what many assumed was simply superior football intelligence. But on September 9, 2007, during a game against the New York Jets, that facade came crashing down. A Patriots video assistant was caught red-handed filming the Jets' defensive coach's signals from the sideline. This wasn't just a random act, it was part of a systematic operation that had allegedly been going on for years. The league launched an immediate investigation, and what they uncovered shook the NFL to its core. Commissioner Roger Goodell came down hard, fining Belichick $500,000, the maximum allowed, and the team $250,000. The Patriots also forfeited their first-round draft pick in 2008. Most damaging of all was the destruction of the tapes themselves, which only fueled conspiracy theories about how deep this operation really went. The Spygate scandal forever tainted the Patriots' early dynasty. While they continued to win, including more Super Bowls in the following years, critics would always question whether their success was legitimate. The phrase, "if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying," became synonymous with the Belichick era. ESPN investigations later suggested the videotaping operation may have extended to multiple opponents over several seasons, casting an even darker shadow over one of the NFL's greatest dynasties. New England Patriots, Deflategate 2015. Just when you thought the Patriots had moved past their cheating controversies, they found themselves in hot water again. In the 2015 AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts, Patriots quarterback Tom Brady led his team to a dominant 45-7 victory. But something felt off to the Colts literally. After halftime, officials discovered that 11 of the 12 Patriots footballs were inflated below the NFL's required pressure levels. The league launched an exhaustive investigation, led by attorney Ted Wells, which concluded that it was more probable than not that Patriots personnel deliberately deflated the balls and that Brady was generally aware of the scheme. The science was debated endlessly. Could cold weather explain it? But the NFL didn't buy it. Brady was suspended for 4 games, the Patriots were fined $1 million, and they lost 2 draft picks, including a first-rounder. The controversy dominated headlines for months and divided the football world. Brady fought the suspension all the way to federal court before ultimately serving it in 2016. The Patriots went on to win Super Bowl 51 that season, in the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history, but Deflategate ensured that questions about the team's integrity would never fully go away. For many fans, the Patriots' success would always come with an asterisk. New Orleans Saints, Bountygate, 2009-2012. The New Orleans Saints' 2009 Super Bowl victory was supposed to be a feel-good story, a city devastated by Hurricane Katrina finally getting its moment of glory. But 3 years later, the shine came off that trophy when the NFL revealed something truly disturbing. A bounty program that paid players to injure opponents. From 2009 to 2011, Saints defensive coordinator Greg Williams ran a system that rewarded players with cash bonuses for card-offs and knockouts, injuring opposing players badly enough that they had to leave the game. The program targeted specific players, including Brett Favre, in the 2010 NFC Championship game. When the investigation concluded, Commissioner Goodell brought down the hammer harder than ever before. Head coach Sean Payton was suspended for the entire 2012 season, the longest suspension for a head coach in NFL history. Williams was suspended indefinitely. General manager Mickey Loomis got 8 games, and the team was fined $500,000 and lost 2 second-round draft picks. The scandal shook the NFL's foundation because it wasn't just about gaining a competitive advantage, it was about deliberately trying to hurt people. While player suspensions were later overturned on appeal, the damage to the Saints' reputation was permanent. Their 2009 championship, once a symbol of resilience and hope, would forever be tainted by the knowledge that the team had operated a system designed to injure their opponents. The league implemented stricter rules about player safety, but the question remained, how many other teams had similar programs that just didn't get caught? Denver Broncos. Videotaping and salary cap, 1990s to 2010. The Denver Broncos built back-to-back Super Bowl championships in 1997 and 1998 with John Elway at the helm. Those titles brought joy to Denver fans, but they came at a cost that violated league rules. In the late 1990s, the NFL discovered the Broncos had circumvented the salary cap to pay key players. The team deferred payments and used creative accounting to hide compensation from the league's salary cap calculations. When the violations were uncovered, the NFL fined the Broncos $968,000 and stripped them of a third-round draft pick. Owner Pat Bowlen was fined as well. But the franchise's cheating didn't stop there. In 2010, under head coach Josh McDaniels, a Broncos employee, was caught videotaping a San Francisco 49ers walkthrough practice. McDaniels, who had been an assistant under Bill Belichick during the Spygate era, claimed ignorance, but the NFL didn't buy it. The team and McDaniels were each fined $50,000. The dual scandals revealed a pattern of rule-breaking that tarnished the Broncos' championship legacy. While Elway's heroic career finale remained celebrated, fans couldn't help but wonder if those Super Bowl victories were built on an unfair foundation. The salary cap violations especially raised questions about whether Denver's roster advantages were legitimate or purchased through illegal means. For a franchise that prided itself on doing things the right way, these revelations were particularly painful. San Francisco 49ers. Salary cap violations, late 1990s. The San Francisco 49ers dynasty of the 1980s and 1990s was the gold standard of NFL excellence. 5 Super Bowl victories in 14 years made them the envy of the league. But as the 1990s drew to a close, the NFL discovered that the 49ers' sustained success may have been built on financial deception. The league investigation revealed that the 49ers had hidden player compensation and engaged in schemes to circumvent the salary cap throughout the mid to late 1990s. Former team executives, including owner Eddie DeBartolo Jr., orchestrated undisclosed deals that gave the team an unfair payroll advantage. The violations included deferred payments, side agreements, and creative accounting that allowed them to retain star players they couldn't have afforded under legitimate cap rules. In 2000, the NFL hit the 49ers with severe penalties, $300,000 in fines for the team, personal fines for DeBartolo and team officials, and the loss of multiple draft picks. The scandal marked the end of an era for the 49ers franchise. DeBartolo, who had overseen the team's greatest period of success, was forced to cede control to his sister. The team's competitive decline in the 2000s seemed like karmic justice for their cap violations. More importantly, the case established precedent for how seriously the league would take salary cap circumvention. The 49ers' legacy, while still impressive, would always carry the caveat that their sustained excellence may have been purchased through rule-breaking. Oakland Raiders. Stickum era, 1970s to 1980s. In the 1970s and early 1980s, the Oakland Raiders built a reputation as the NFL's outlaws, tough, physical, and willing to bend rules to their breaking point. Defensive back Lester Hayes took that philosophy literally by coating his hands, arms, and jersey with a sticky adhesive called Stickum. The substance made Hayes virtually impossible to throw against. Receivers couldn't shake free from his grip, and he led the league with 13 interceptions in 1980. But Hayes wasn't alone. Multiple Raiders players used Stickum and other adhesives to gain advantages in coverage and catching. The practice gave Oakland an unfair edge that other teams couldn't match without also cheating. The sight of Hayes on the field, glistening with adhesive, became iconic but also controversial. Opponents complained bitterly, and the league finally acted. In 1981, the NFL banned Stickum and similar substances, a rule change informally known as the Lester Hayes rule. While Hayes remained an excellent player after the ban, his production dropped noticeably. The Raiders' swagger and win-at-all-costs mentality had pushed the league to close a loophole they'd been exploiting for years. The Stickum era became part of Raiders' lore, proof that the team lived up to its renegade reputation. But it also showed that sometimes crossing the line forces the league to redraw it. New York Jets. Spygate victims, and broader controversies. The New York Jets occupy a unique position in NFL cheating history. They're most famous for being victims. On September 9, 2007, Jets security caught a Patriots employee videotaping their defensive signals from the sideline, triggering the Spygate investigation that would rock the league. The Jets' complaint led to massive penalties against New England and validated years of suspicions about Patriots' operations. But the incident also raised uncomfortable questions about how widespread such practices were across the league. Jets coach Eric Mangini, who had worked under Bill Belichick in New England, knew exactly what to look for, suggesting this wasn't an isolated incident. The Jets' role in exposing Spygate made them heroes to Patriots haters, but also created lasting animosity between the franchises. Beyond being victims, the Jets appeared in broader discussions of sign stealing and tape-related controversies throughout NFL history. While never penalized as severely as teams like the Patriots or Saints, the Jets' involvement in these disputes highlighted how pervasive rule-bending had become. The franchise that had once guaranteed and delivered a Super Bowl victory in 1969 found itself decades later at the center of the NFL's biggest cheating scandal, not as perpetrators, but as the team that finally said enough was enough. Washington Commanders, roster manipulation. The Washington franchise has cycled through many controversies over its long history, but among them were accusations of creative rule bending with roster management. The team faced scrutiny for how they manipulated injured reserve lists and roster moves to gain competitive advantages. According to CBS Sports retrospectives, Washington employed gamesmanship that crossed the line, with personnel maneuvers designed to circumvent roster limits and salary cap restrictions. These tactics included questionable injury designations that allowed them to stash players while keeping their salaries off the active books. While never resulting in penalties as severe as salary cap violations by teams like the 49 ERS or Broncos, the practices drew criticism for exploiting gray areas in league rules. The roster manipulation allegations added to Washington's broader reputation for organizational dysfunction and rule bending. Combined with other franchise controversies over the years, it painted a picture of a team willing to push boundaries in pursuit of competitive advantages. The NFL's subsequent tightening of roster rules and injury reporting requirements showed that Washington's creative interpretations had forced the league to close loopholes. Miami Dolphins, Spygate connections. The Miami Dolphins found themselves entangled in the wider Spygate investigation when ESPN's deeper reporting suggested the Patriots' videotaping operation extended far beyond the 2007 Jets game. According to expanded coverage of the scandal, Patriots recordings allegedly included Dolphins games and signals over multiple seasons. While the Dolphins were victims rather than perpetrators, their inclusion in the Spygate reporting revealed how systematic the Patriots' operation had been. Multiple opponents, including Miami, had potentially been scouted illegally for years, undermining the competitive integrity of numerous games. The revelations were particularly painful for Dolphins fans, given the heated rivalry between the two franchises and Miami's struggles during the Patriots' dynasty years. The Dolphins' connection to Spygate raised the question that haunted many Patriots opponents. How many losses came because New England had illegally obtained their signals and game plans? While impossible to quantify, the psychological impact was real. Every close loss to the Patriots now carried the suspicion of cheating. For the Dolphins and other AFC East rivals, the Patriots' dominance felt less like being outplayed and more like being systematically undermined. Dallas Cowboys. Admitted practices. America's team has always operated with swagger, but that confidence occasionally crossed into admitted rule-breaking. Legendary coach Jimmy Johnson, who led the Cowboys to back-to-back Super Bowls in the early 1990 seconds, later admitted that trying to videotape opponents' signals was common practice during his coaching career. Johnson's admission during the Spygate fallout shocked many fans, but also provided context. What the Patriots were caught doing wasn't necessarily unique, just the most publicized instance. Johnson claimed that in his era, such practices were widespread and tacitly accepted around the league. His candor pulled back the curtain on how coaches had operated in the pre-Spygate era, when surveillance technology was advancing faster than league rules could keep pace. The Cowboys' inclusion in historical roundups of teams that used borderline tactics tarnished their 1990 seconds dynasty slightly, though not to the extent of more severe scandals. Johnson's admission suggested the Cowboys' Super Bowl victories came with at least some assistance from practices that would later be outlawed. While never formally penalized like the Patriots, the Cowboys' reputation for doing whatever it takes to win gained a darker edge when their Hall of Fame coach admitted to activities that would later be considered cheating. Pittsburgh Steelers. Historical allegations. The Pittsburgh Steelers franchise, despite its reputation for toughness and integrity, has appeared in multiple historical compilations of teams accused of bending rules. While never involved in a scandal as explosive as Spygate or Bountygate, the Steelers have faced various allegations over decades of competition. Retrospective lists and rankings of NFL's biggest cheaters include the Steelers for various infractions and questionable practices spanning different eras. These range from salary cap questions to other rule-bending tactics that, while not resulting in major penalties, suggested a willingness to operate in gray areas. The allegations were often less concrete than those against teams like the Patriots or Saints, but their persistence across multiple sources indicated the Steelers weren't immune to the temptations of gaining unfair advantages. For a franchise that prides itself on old-school football values and the Steeler way, these allegations created cognitive dissonance among fans and observers. The team's 6 Super Bowl victories remained sources of pride, but the inclusion in cheating retrospectives served as a reminder that even the most respected franchises have faced questions about their methods. The Steelers' case illustrated that in the NFL, the line between aggressive competition and rule-breaking is often thinner than teams would like to admit. New York Giants. Surveillance allegations. The New York Giants have appeared in historical allegations about spying and eavesdropping across various eras of NFL history. While specifics are often debated and documentation varies, The Giants show up consistently in compilations of teams accused of surveillance-related controversies. These allegations span from mid-20th century sign-stealing claims to more modern debates about how widespread electronic surveillance practices were before the league cracked down. The Giants' inclusion in these retrospectives suggests that teams across different eras and competitive landscapes found ways to gain informational advantages that crossed ethical lines. Some accusations involve physical surveillance, others involve signal decoding, and still others reference technological methods of gathering opponent information. The Giants' 4 Super Bowl victories remain celebrated, particularly their upset wins over the Patriots in 2008 and 2012. But the surveillance allegations, while never resulting in formal discipline comparable to Spygate, added complexity to the franchise's history. The broader pattern revealed by these accusations was that rule-bending wasn't confined to any single team or era, it was woven into the competitive fabric of professional football. The Giants simply represented one franchise among many navigating the murky waters between gamesmanship and cheating. So which of these scandals do you think did the most damage to the NFL's integrity? Was it the Patriots' systematic cheating that tainted multiple championships? The Saints' bounty program that literally tried to injure players? Or the salary cap violations that let teams buy unfair advantages? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark side of NFL competition, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more football content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when we expose more secrets from America's most popular sport. Thanks for watching. And remember, in the NFL, the difference between a genius and a cheater sometimes just depends on whether you get caught.